All right, everybody. Hopefully that sound thing has been corrected now. I originally was trying to do this recording through the webcam mic rather than the headset, but apparently I picked the wrong setting for the webcam, and it wasn't picking up a real microphone. So we'll go back to the old school way of doing things. Again, NBC game of the week, May 12th, 1979. Cincinnati Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates here in Fall Classic at Three Rivers Stadium, or as RJL, who's in the chat, would like to say, the stadium by the Three Rivers. Good morning, Brian B., Dav, Ben, Kenyon, Ernest, and Dan. Good to see all of you. Yep, tomorrow is going to be Sunday, Basic Sunday. I might drop the Bono thing and just keep the Sunday Basic Sunday without the U2 reference, but that's where I got it from. So, but it will be the Yankees and the Orioles, opening day 1962. I believe it's from Yankee Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, it is from Yankee Stadium. Whitey Ford on the mound for the Yankees against somebody named Huft, Heoft, for the Orioles. So that will be that one. That's right. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. So, yes, indeed. So there you go. All right. Interesting lineups in this game for the Cincinnati Reds. Their manager, John McNamara, has decided to give Johnny Bench and Dan Dreesen the game off. So we have Vic Correll catching, and we have Champ Summers playing first base. So that's the lineup for Cincinnati. For Pittsburgh, Chuck Tanner again also going with right-handers against the left-hander Fred Norman. So Manny Sanguillen's actually playing first base in this one, while Pops Stargell sits on the bench. So I'll just show the score sheet that I have here real quick, just so you can see the lineups. Those are the lineups for today's game in my chicken scratch. Don't forget that Bill Matlock does not join the Pirates until later, so we still have Rennie Stennett at second and Phil Garner at third. So that's still the modus operandi of the Pirates at this point. And I actually had an extra cup of coffee left over from this morning that I didn't use, so we'll have our ceremonial first sip for the day. How about that? Johnny Bench is on the roster, and so is Stargell and Dreesen, so they can all be used as pinch hitters. No question about it. All right. And let's move Three River Stadium out of the way. I'll bring that into play when it's needed. But right now, if you want to take a quick look at Three River Stadium and just the effects, you can see foul balls are only 6 and 8. A lot of foul outs, so not a whole lot of foul ground at Three River Stadium. If you get a foul ball, it's most likely going into the seats. Hello, Mr. Utah Mike. Good to see you. All right, so I think we have everything where we need it. Of course, the charts I'll have to the side and in my little binder, but of course I will have things like the defensive charts to check for range checks and so forth. Those are handy out loose. Also got the team sheets, this one for Cincinnati and one for the Pirates. So I'll be referencing those when they are needed. Let's keep them out here out of frame. And first things first, we're going to have a bullpen session for each starting pitcher. Bruce Kison will roll on his, and there's no way, I was trying to avoid getting the shadows here, but I don't think there's a way to do it, because if I turn on the overhead light, it's probably going to be too bright, but I'll try it. But I think that's going to give too much glare. I'm thinking it will. I don't know if I'm thinking it will give too much glare. That's the lowest I can set them on, and I think that's going to cause a glare here. So I'm thinking probably better to go without them. All right, so Bruce Kison, his bullpen session. We get a 19. Boy, he's under his C grades. And those are two things I forgot to get, were the markers to mark the pitchers and their plight. So let me get little tokens for them. So Bruce Kison is on his C grades. We'll keep an eye on him being on his C grades. Now Fred Norman, he's a 15, so he is on his C grades. Both pitchers on their C grades. Not exactly what they had planned, but that's just the way it happens. I do have the game up on the Action PC computer, so I will try to score it as we play it. And try to keep myself straight on who's batting and all that good stuff. So leading things off for the Reds will be Ken Griffey Jr. on the, well, it doesn't even matter what the Action PC thing says about their averages. I don't think that really matters. So we will get going. 14 for Griffey, and that's an out. That's a 3. Bases empty 3. Left-handed batter grounds to first, unassisted. So he grounds it to Manny Sanguillen for the first out of the ball game. Manny Sanguillen will take it to the bag himself. I don't remember Sanguillen playing first base very often, but apparently he did. And if you're familiar with Action PC ratings, Sanguillen is a 2 at first base, so obviously not very good. All right, here is Junior Kennedy. He's playing second base instead of Joe Morgan. I'm not sure if Morgan, I think Morgan might be injured at this point. I don't remember seeing him on the bench. He might be. I'd have to double check it. Right now, though, it's Junior Kennedy getting the call. 34, and that's a base hit for Junior Kennedy. So Junior Kennedy gets himself a 1-out single. And he's aboard. And it will bring up Dave Concepcion. Still think he unquestionably should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think there's a debate about it. You can't tell me he's not better than Pee Wee Reese or Phil Rizzuto. He puts them to shame. Concepcion should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. All right, here we go. Just going to leave it at that. As Forrest Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that. 63, there's an out. That's a 6. Runner at first, a 6. Grounded to short. White die runner advances. Otherwise, it's a double play. Or a weak arm shortstop only gets the fielder's choice. The shortstop in this case is Foley. And Foley has an average arm, so it will be a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. 6-4-3. And just that quickly, the Reds are gone here in the first inning. Tailor-made double play, 6-4-3. Giovanni's Tailor Shop. Still sponsoring the double play in the NBC Game of the Week. So we go to the bottom of the first. It is Cincinnati nothing, and the Pirates coming up. Oh, go ahead, Robert. Go see the Mets and the Marlins. Why not? Although I haven't been following it much, but I've heard that the Mets are struggling here in this current 2026 season, but I haven't been following, so I don't know. All right, and don't forget, after this game, it won't be live. It's already been recorded, but it will be round 3 of the Farmers Insurance Open from Torrey Pines in San Diego and History Maker Golf. That will be tomorrow. Oh, that will be later this afternoon. Tomorrow, we'll have the recorded version of Sunday Basic Sunday, probably sometime in the morning. And then in the afternoon around 2 o'clock, 2 or 3-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood, we will have live final round coverage of the Farmers Insurance Open. Back 9 for the leaders. I'm going to pick it up where the first group is on the 15th tee and the leaders are starting the 10th tee. That's where I'm going to pick it up from. All right, here is, well, it's Concepcion's out of there, so let's get the Reds lined up here and get ready for Omar Moreno of the Pirates. That's a 26. That's a left-right split, and it's a lefty-lefty matchup, so it's going to be an out. 10 with the bases empty. Line out to the white die, 6, so it lines out to right field. And that's 1 away, as the right fielder Griffey will put that away. And Moreno is out of there. Here's Tim Foley. 53, we got a range check. Who's the range check going to be on? We shall find out. Because 10 is higher than Norman's KD, which is only a 1. So we will go to a range check. Hello, Jeremy. Range check, 43. That's a range check on Junior Kennedy, the second baseman. So we'll get in Kennedy's range off of the team chart. For second base, Junior Kennedy, his range is an 11. That's a 9. He will make the play. So Junior Kennedy makes that play. 2 down. 2 up and 2 down. And that'll send us to the Cobra, Dave Parker. 61, and that's going to be a strikeout on a 1 to 12. That's a 14, so no strikeout. Roll and get the particular out. It's a 5, so that as a left-handed batter, he grounds it to first, with Champ Summers flipping to Norman covering. 3 to 1 on the putout to end the inning. So that's going to do it. First inning, relatively simple there. Minimal offense. Reds get a hit, but double play takes that away, and then the Pirates go 3 up, 3 down. We start the top of the second for the big guy, George Foster. Foster is Australian for home run. 51, and that's a 6, so that's above the KD, so we will have an error check on the Pirates. So let's see who is going to be in play for the Pirates to have an error check on. Hello, Triple G. 23. 23, an error check, 23. It was a 51. So we're doing an error check on the shortstop, Tim Foley. Let's see what Foley has to say at shortstop. Foley's error chance is a 5. That's a 3. He makes the error. So how about that? That fails. Foley will boot it. And let's see here. It was a 23. That's saying 2 stars. Batter safe at second. So it's a 2-base error. 2-base error on Tim Foley. Usually reliable Tim Foley commits the 2-base error. That's not going to happen very often, but it just happened. Shows you anything can happen with the dice. So a 2-base error on Foley. And Foster will sit at second base with nobody out. And that'll send up Champ Summers. He's playing first base in this one. That's a 32, and that is an out. 16 with the runner at second. See what the out says. It is a ground ball to short, but the runner does advance. So going to third base on the ground ball is Foster. And now an early decision for the Cincinnati Reds. Do they play the infield in or not? For the Pirates, rather. Do they play the infield in, or do they lay back early on? I just don't think you like giving up a cheap run. So they're going to play the infield in for Ray Knight's at bat. Hello, Forever. Good to see you. So the infield is in. We get a 12 for Ray Knight, and that's a single plus on a 1 to 6. That is a 6. Didn't matter where the infield was. It is going to be a base hit, and Ray Knight's going to have to try to steal because he get the plus. So it means he is going to go. But it's an RBI single for Ray Knight. Put the Reds ahead 1 to nothing. And then we'll see if, in fact, he tries, successful at stealing the base. Ray Knight's stolen base chance is a 10. Checking Nikosha, the catcher. He's got an average arm, so that doesn't change at all. So 1 to 10, and Ray Knight, let's look at it again. Look at it closer here. Ray Knight has a 10. That is his, if I can get the focus right. He's got a 10 for his stolen base, Ray Knight. 10 successful stolen base. So I guess he was 50-50. Looks like he was stole 4 out of 8. But it's a 1 to 10. And he's out stealing. So Ray Knight is caught stealing. Second out of the inning. But he does get the RBI single to put the Reds ahead. So he's out 2 to 6 with Geronimo batting the shortstop. Foley is covering the caught stealing. All right, so 2 outs base is clear for Cesar Geronimo. But the Reds do lead 1-0. 61, and that's a straight out strikeout for Kison, his first strikeout of the game to end the inning, but the Reds take a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the second. All right, so Bill Robinson steps to the plate. 16 for Robinson is a strikeout. First strikeout for Fred Norman. Wait a minute, were there only 2 outs? I stand corrected. See, I'm glad I got the computer with me because there were 2 outs. So Robinson does not strike out. He's not up at bat yet. That's why I have the computer to keep me straight. There were only 2 outs in the inning, not 3. So actually, it's going to be Vic Carrell going to bat. And 2 out space is empty for Carrell. And we get a 15, and he is out on a ground out to short. So now we can end the inning. Carrell grounds out to short to end the inning. And now we go to the bottom of the second. And now we're ready for Bill Robinson. We get a 52, and that is an error check because the KD is too high to stop it. So we go to the Reds for their defensive setup. Find out who the error check is going to be on. It's a 12, and that means the left fielder, George Foster. We're checking George Foster in left field for an error. George Foster's error rating is only a 4. Only a 4 right here for George Foster, and that's a 15, so Foster will make the play. And that's 1 away. 1 down. And that will take us to catcher Steve Nicosia. 65, and that's going to be a home run on a 1 to an 11. Nicosia doesn't change that. But that's a 17, so that isn't going to be an out. And the out's going to be a 16, which I believe is a ground out to short. Yes. Ground out to short, 2 down. And that brings up Manny Sanguillen. Sanguillen, first baseman in this one, 44. That's a double, 1 to 15. So it's a double for Manny Sanguillen. 2-out double for Sanguillen. And it's going to be up now to Rennie Stennett. 64, and that's an out. A 1 with the runner at second. Might just be a tapper back to the mound. Which it is. So it's ground ball back to Norman to end the inning. So the 2-out double doesn't create any runs. And we go to the top of the third, still 1-0 favor of the Reds. And Fred Norman, who's actually a switch hitter. He bats both, so he's actually going to bat he's going to bat left-handed anyway because of righty, but he is a switch hitter. So Fred Norman, who was a 153 hitter real world, steps to the plate. That's a 61, and that's going to be a strikeout. Second strikeout of the game for Mr. Kison. Top of the order we go for Ken Griffey. 43, and that's an out, and 15 will be a ground ball to first base unassisted. So Sanguillen will take it to the bag himself to retire Griffey. And it brings up Junior Kennedy. That's a 16. And he is out on a 3, which is a ground ball to third to end the inning. So 3 up, 3 down inning for Kison. Go to the bottom of the third. Still 1-0 Cincinnati Reds. Here is Phil Garner. Garner at third base in this game. 14 is an out. 3. Ground ball to third. 1 away. Handled by Ray Knight. 1 down, and that brings up the pitcher, Bruce Kison. He was a 145 hitter real world with the home run. 23, and that's going to be a strikeout. That is the first strikeout for Norman. 2 up, 2 down, and that's going to flip it to the top of the order for Moreno. 15, he's out. 20, line out to the white die, which is the third baseman, Ray Knight. So he tried to go opposite way and didn't work. Knight snags it, and 3 innings are complete here, and the score is still 1-0 in favor of the Cincinnati Reds. We go to the top of the 4th, and it'll be Concepcion, Foster, and Summers due up. 63, and that's going to be an out. 20, again, the line out is to the white die, which is a 3, so he lines it to first base. So Concepcion trying to go opposite way, but lines it right to Sanguillen. 1 away. Brings up the dangerous George Foster. I'm sorry. Yeah, brings up George Foster. How did Champ Summers get in front of Foster? I don't know how that happened. Should be Foster. No batting out of turn. We could have Foster. 35, and that's a base hit for George Foster. Foster's aboard. Now we can have Champ Summers. 43, and that is going to be an out. 14, runner at first. Is a ground ball to second, fielder's choice at second base. However, a strong arm second baseman turns a double play. Let's see if Stennett has a strong arm. Stennett at second base does have a strong arm, so they actually turn the double play because he has a strong arm. They will turn the double play. That's good. I'm sorry, it's not a double play. Runner's at second. What am I? No, I never moved this thing out of the way. It is a double play. Didn't move my little thing there. Somebody should have yelled at me for that. So it's going to go 6-4-3. Second Giovanni's Taylor Shop double play of the game. Turned by the Pirates. That's keeping them in the game. Or else the Reds could be out in front by more than just 1. So the ground ball double play, 6-4-3 ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the 4th. And Tim Foley leads it off. Yeah, Ben, I moved it. I forgot to move it before. All right, 32 for Norman. That's an out. 6, we go back to bases empty. Should just be a ground ball to short, I would think. And it is. Ground ball to Concepcion, 1 away. And that's going to bring up Dave Parker. 52, that's going to be an error check because the KD is way too high. The D20 is way too high for the KD on Norman. So 52 means we're doing error check. That's a 15. So we're doing on the right fielder, Griffey. Let's get the defensive chart for the Reds, or the team chart. Griffey, his error rating is a 4 in right field. That's a 16, so Griffey will handle that relatively easy. And Mr. Parker is out of there. 2 up, 2 down. And that takes us to Bill Robinson, left fielder. 64, and that's an out. 18's a fly out to center field to end the inning. Nothing doing for the Pirates. Got a pitching duel breaking out here. We go to the 5th. It is still 1-0 in favor of the Cincinnati Reds. All right, Ray Knight will lead things off. 15 for Knight, that's an out, and a 15 is a ground ball to third base. I'm sorry, to shortstop, so Foley will take care of it. Ground out to short. One down for Cesar Geronimo. Struck out his first chance. Won't do it this time, not on the 33. 1-7 is a single, but that's going to be a walk. So a one-out walk issued to Geronimo. I believe that is the first walk of the game for Mr. Kison. That'll send up Vic Carell, the catcher. $14, that's an out. That's a 12. 12, pop out to the white die and the 4, so he pops it out to second base. 2 away for Fred Norman. Fred Norman is up. He struck out his first chance. 23, he's going to strike out again to end the inning. So they leave Geronimo at first. We go to the bottom of the 5th, still 1-0, favor of Cincinnati. And that one run is unearned due to a 2-base error by Tim Foley. So Nicosia steps to the plate. Be Nicosia, Sanguillen, and Stennett due up for the Pirates. 36, and that's going to be an out. 12 with bases empty is a pop out to the white die, so he pops it up to Concepcion at short. And there's one away. One down, and that's going to bring up Manny Sanguillen. 23 for Sanguillen is an out. 16, that will be a ground out to Concepcion. 2 up, 2 down. Fred Norman just rolling along here on this Saturday afternoon, taking care of the lumber company. Here's Rennie Stennett. 21 for Stennett. He's out. 12. Again, a pop out to the white die. This is a 1. So he pops it out to first base. Champ Summers is there. 3 up, 3 down go the Buccos. We go to the 6th. Still 1-0. We're just moving right along here. That's probably the kiss of death as far as that goes. Now there'll be a 2-hour game with 15 innings and 17 runs, but hopefully not. So due up for the Reds, it's the top of the order, Ken Griffey. Griffey is 0 for 2. He's grounded to Sanguillen twice. 13, he's going to be out again on a 2. That's a fly out to center field. Moreno will haul it in. And there's one away here in the top of the 6th. Junior Kennedy up next. 35, and that's going to be a base hit for Junior Kennedy. He's 2 for 3. Is Junior Kennedy. And that'll bring up Concepcion. 53 again. 5 is higher than the Katie there, so it will be a range check on the Pirates. And we'll see who the range check is on. It is a 51, so we're looking at the third baseman, Phil Garner. Phil Garner's range at third base. His range is a 12. That's a 16. That fails. So a failed range play. 51. It's an infield single, so 1 base advancement. Runners at first and second. Only 1 out. And the big guy, George Foster, coming to bat. Kison could use a double play grounder right about now. 54, though. We're going to get a 54 chart. First time to go to the 54 chart with runners on base. And let's see what we've got here. We've got runners at first and second. Runners at first and second. First and second. So, and I'm assuming that I'm doing this correctly because the only thing I see that says first and second is the wildest chart. I don't see a wilder for first and second. Oh, and it says, wait a minute, I'm sorry, men on base right here. This is where I go. Never mind. We don't play this game in a while, it kind of throws you off. All right, so we're looking at the D20, which is a 16, and we're going to find out whether it's a wild pitch or not. Kison's wild pitch rating is only a 10, so it's not going to be a wild pitch since it's a 16. It will not be a wild pitch, and we'll just redo the at-bat. 62 for Foster is going to be a strikeout. So Kison gets a big strikeout there. 2 down. And they're going to leave it all up to Champ Summers. 42, and that's going to be a walk. It's going to load the bases. Bases are loaded. Kison in his biggest trouble of the game. Bases loaded, 2 outs. He's got to deal with Ray Knight. Knight is 1 for 2. An 11, that's going to be a solid single for Ray Knight. We'll check the bases loaded runner advancement on an 11. It's hit the left field, holds at third, but can run with risk. Left fielder arm is Robinson. His assist rating, let's see what his assist rating is in left field. His assist rating is a 3. Do they run with risk is the question. Do they run with risk? The arm of Robinson, he is a weak arm, so actually running with risk is pretty sensible because you're only out on a 1 or a 2. Everything else is 3 or 6. He's going to be safe. And he's out. So they ran with risk and it didn't pay off. Robinson, even despite the weak arm, throws Concepcion out at the plate. Call it 7-2. But it is an RBI single. It is an RBI single for Mr. Ray Knight. But it's now 2-0. But the bases are, the inning is over. So even with 2 outs, the run with risk didn't seem to help him much. I would have thought they would have given him an extra bonus for 2 outs, but I didn't see that in the rules. You would think somebody with Concepcion speed would have scored automatically from second with 2 outs, but it's not what it said here. It said run with risk and roll a D6, and I don't see any. There was nothing on the result that talked about 2 outs, so the chart didn't mention it. So we go to the bottom of the 6th, Cincinnati leading now 2-0. Well, Ernest, all I can tell you is there it is. You can look at Bill Robinson right here. Weak arm with a 3 assist rating. Weak arm, 3 assist rating. They got him written right there. That's how they rated him for left field. Actually, in right field, he's got a weak arm, but his assist rating goes up to a 6. That's kind of interesting. But either way, that's how they play it. So here's Phil Garner. He will lead it off. That's a 12, and he is going to walk on a 1-10, so he draws the base on balls. Phil Garner. A leadoff walk to Phil Garner. And that's only the second base runner for the Pirates all game. Sanguian doubled with 2 outs in the second, and this is the first base runner since then. What that will do, of course, is let Kison bunt. It's going to set up a definite situation to bunt. So look at Kison's bunt rating. He is a 5. So we're going to roll the D6. That's a 4, and the 4 also says that means the pitcher, Norman, is going to be the one fielding this. So again, 1 to 5, it's successful. And it is, so it's a good sacrifice bunt. The out's going to go 1 to 4 at first base. But Garner takes second with 1 out on the successful sacrifice hit. And we're back to the top of the order for Omar Moreno. 25, and that's an out. 12 with the runner at second. Runner at second and a 12 pop up to the white die, which is a 5, so he pops it up to Ray Knight at third. 2 away. And now he's left it up to Tim Foley to drive the run home if he can. Foley is 0 for 2, a couple of ground outs. 33 for Foley. That's a solid single. We'll see if he scores. Runner on second, base hit. D20's a 15. Runner scores. Not even no challenge or anything. It just says runner scores. So it's an RBI single from Tim Foley to cut the lead to 2-1. So the small ball works for the Pirates. They play for a run and they get a run. 2-1 now. And here's Dave Parker. .23, and that's going to be a strikeout. Parker is out of there, but the Pirates finally get on the board, and they have cut the lead to 2-1 after 6. So we head to the top of the 7th, and we'll check. So once we get to the 7th, I'll start looking at pitcher fatigue and see what they've got. Kison can face 27 batters. Right now, he has faced, looks like 24, so he's right on the borderline of needing relief. So let's look at who the Pirates have available in their bullpen. You do have a couple of guys that were part-time starters that are also available in the pen right now because they're not starting. Jim Bibby is one of them. Ed Whitson's another. And then the traditional relievers, you have Enrique Romo, you have a left-hander, Grant Jackson, and you have, of course, Kent DeColvey. So those are the guys that are available in the pen in case Kison should start to falter or reach his fatigue. Right now, though, Cesar Geronimo will lead it off. 31, and that's going to be a base hit, but again, I'm going to use the Replay Gamers homebrew where we turn this into a range check. So we're going to go to a range check for one of the Reds defensively, and we'll see who is selected for their range. That's an 11. So we're looking at George Foster. I'm sorry, that's Pirates, rather. They're in the field. So it's left fielder Bill Robinson. His range in left field. Bill Robinson's range in left field is a 12, and that's only a 5. So Bill Robinson will take that hit away. That would have been a hit in the actual rules, but using the homebrew for Replay Gamer, which I like, making it a range check, that turns into an out. So here is, wait a minute, yeah, here is Vic Correll. Fix my score sheet real quick. Didn't make a boo-boo there. All right, so Vic Correll. After Geronimo flies to left. Nice running catch by Bill Robinson. 41 for Correll, and that's going to be a base on balls. So Vic Correll will take the 1-out walk. Brings up Norman. There's already 1 out, so I really don't want to bunt with Norman here. It would make it 2 outs that quickly, so I don't know about that. We're going to have Norman swing away. Hello, villain. That's a 14. He strikes out. Out number 2. And now this will be batter number 28 coming up for Kison. So if he gives up any hits, he will go to his D grades. So they like to get him through the inning so they can pinch hit for him eventually. Somehow Griffey got turned upside down. Don't know how that happened. We'll get him right side up real quick. 2 outs, base, and a runner at first for Ken Griffey. That's a 16 for Griffey. He is out on a 4 with a runner at first, and that's going to be a ground out to second, and that will end the inning. So we made it to the 7th inning stretch here in Pittsburgh. To score, Reds 2, Pirates 1. That's going to be all for Kison. He's going to leave. And the Pirates, let's see how close we are to the pitcher spot. Well, we might be there once they bat. Let's see who's loosening in the bullpen. It appears to be Enrique Romo loosening in the bullpen for the Pirates. He would come in the 8th inning. Right now, don't know if there'll be a double switch or not. Depends on how far they get in the order. It's possible. You never know. Fred Norman can face 27 batters. He has faced a total of just 21, so he's in good shape as far as fatigue goes there. So we will head to the 7th inning stretch, and I'm going to go heat my coffee and take a quick stretch break, and we will be right back. So let me get the Fluffy Cat is about 10 feet away from me, laying on a bed up here. There's an extra bed upstairs. It's kind of like a little floor bed that a kid would sit on, but she seems to like it, and she's up here with me. Sometimes she likes to stay down and get the open window and fresh air, but today she's been kind of nudgy and wants to be around me for whatever reason, so that's what she's doing. So 7th inning stretch, and see if I can find something here to entertain you while I go heat my coffee for about 2 minutes. See if I can find what I was looking for. It won't be the 7th inning stretch, but it'll be something else, something different. It won't be taking out the ball game, it'll be something different.
Have you heard about pop-on siding? We need 50 homeowners in your area to trial this ready.
All right, made it back a little late to stop that other little blurb from coming on, but whatever. All right. We are heading for the bottom of the 7th now. I do have heated up fresh coffee. And let's see if I can back this up one extra hair. Might show a little bit better there. Okay. We are ready to go. Bill Robinson will lead things off here in the bottom of the 7th against Norman, who's been pitching very well, despite being on his C grades. And we have a 14, which is an out. 13 is a ground ball to short with a right-handed batter. So he grounds to Concepcion, out number 1. And that brings up Nicosia. That is a 66 for Nicosia. It's a solid double. So not a home run hitter per se. So they don't give him the home run here on the 66. They give him a chance at one here, and then whatever the pitcher does on 65 or the ballpark. But on 66, he only gets a double. So Nicosia with the double. Tying run is now in scoring position for Manny Sanguillen. 26, that's a left-right split, and that's going to tie the ball game. Left-right split's automatic 2-base advancement by rule. And so we got a tie at 2 apiece. Manny Sanguillen coming through. Left-right split. Just when you think it doesn't come up enough, it comes up just enough to be important. And Sanguillen has tied the score at 2. So it looks like we won't need a, well, it depends. We might need a double switch if we get the pitcher spot or not. All right, here is Ronnie Stennett, 36, and that's an out. Runner at first and an 11. Ground out to the white die. White die is a 6, so he grounds it to short. Fast or average runner advances to second. So let's see, Sanguillen, I don't believe is fast or average, but he could be. No, he's slow, so he won't advance to second. Slow runner out at second, and if the batter has a slow run rating, he is also out at first for a double play. Stennett does not have a slow rating there, so it's going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice with Stennett safe at first. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Phil Garner. There is a pinch hitter on deck if Garner reaches. 31, that's going to be a range check. That's the old home brew rule of a range check on those 31s. That's a 14. We're in the range of Geronimo in center field. That's been the bane of Brian B. for a long time. It's how they rate the Reds, how a cert game is not favorable to Cesar Geronimo. Let's see here. Geronimo, his range here, though, is an 11, and that's just a 4, so he'll make the play. And that will end the inning. So it is going to probably precipitate a double switch. Maybe not. They might just have Romo pitch the 1 inning and move on from that. Let's see how they want to play it. Norman now has faced 26 batters, so that might be getting close to the end for him as well. So let's see what the Pirates might want to do. Because the pitcher spot is set to lead off the inning. So if they do a straight play, then that means Romo would lead off the 9th, or the bottom of the 8th, rather. So let's see whose possibility is to take out on a switch. Let's see who they got on the bench. Pirates have Willie Stargell, so they could switch him out for Sanguillen. Ed Ott, Easler, Milner, Lacey, and Lacey can play second or left field, and Dale Berra. So I think they're going to bring in Wilbur Stargell. We're going to have a double switch. So don't look, Robert. Turn away. We have a double switch. And the pitcher, Romo, will hit in the 6th position held by Sanguillen, and Stargell will bat 9th, which means he will lead off the next inning. And coming out of the game is Manny Sanguillen. So Sanguillen will leave the game. So We'll go to the Action PC computer and execute that double switch. So let's put in the final out for Garner. First of all, fly out to center so we can get to the part we need. All right, so we will have the double switch coming up. Kison is going to come out, and Enrique Romo is going to come on. And he will bat in the 6th spot held by Sanguillen. And then Pops Wilbur Stargell will take over at first base and bat 9th. And there you have it. Double switch has been executed. All right, now Romo with his bullpen session. 16, he's going to be on a C grade. Boy, everybody's on their C grades today. What's going on with that? Let me get the totals on Kison. He's going to go 7 innings. And he's going to give up 6 hits and 2 runs, only one of them earned. And we'll check his walks and strikeouts. Let me go to the box score. Go to the box score here and get his walks and strikeouts so I can have those in play. Also get the numbers on Norman because he might be done as well. So Kison walked 3, struck out 5. Norman goes 7 innings. Gives up 4 hits, 2 runs. They were all earned. Walks 1, strikes out 2. All right, so Enrique Romo going to be on to face Junior Kennedy. Of course, we're in the 8th inning, so pinch hitting is allowed, obviously. We'll look at the Reds bench to see who they have available. From the left side, they do have Joe Morgan and Dan Dreesen. They also have switch hitter Dave Collins. 3 righties. They have, actually 4 righties. They have a guy named DeFreitas, Paul Blair, Auerbach, and bench. So looks like Little Joe is going to pinch hit here for Junior Kennedy. Or will he? No, he will not. Kennedy's a 273 hitter, and he's 2 for 3 today. So we're actually going to keep Joe for the bench in case he needs to hit for the pitcher or something. So Kennedy will lead off. Hello, midlife. Kennedy will lead off here against Enrique Romo. 55 for Kennedy. Does it again. Another base hit. He's 3 for 4. I had Dreesen in the way. Don't move him out of the way. So Kennedy says, why are you trying to pinch hit for me? I'm 3 for 4. Don't be silly. So Kennedy with the single. And now that sends up Dave Concepcion. .54, so we're going to see if there is a wild pitch or not. Or Pat's ball or whatever. So that's a 10. Romo's wild pitch range an 18, so it's going to be something, either a wild pitch or a pass ball. We're going to check Nikosha's pass ball rating. So we go over here to Nikosha. His pass ball rating is only a 1, so it won't be a pass ball. It will be a wild pitch. So Romo uncorks the wild pitch. And that's going to put the go-ahead run in scoring position. Wild pitch by Romo. And now standing back in is Concepcion. 56, and that's going to be a strikeout. Big strikeout for Romo. 1 away, and now here's George Foster. First base is open, but I don't think you're going to walk George Foster intentionally. 51, that's an error check because the 10 is above the KD. So we are looking for an error check. 32, we're checking the error of the new first baseman, Stargell. I'll tell you what, you bring in a new player and the ball finds you. So Stargell's error rating at first base is a 3. That's a 4. So he's able to make the play, barely. And it should be just a ground out with runner advancing, but I'll double check it here. So the 32 was the first baseman making the play, run on second. Runner advances, so ground out with the runner going to third now with 2 outs. So Kennedy is at third base waiting for Champ Summers to bring him home. 2 outs, runner at third. Romo. An 11, and that is a walk on a 1 to an 11, so a 2-out walk to Champ Summers. Puts runners on the corners for Ray Knight. So Ray Knight in the middle of it again. Ray Knight, a .318 hitter. You're not going to pinch hit for him. 36, and that's going to be an out. Runners at the corners. Out chart on a 9. Fly out to right. That's going to end the inning. So Romo pitches out of the mess. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. Still 2-2. Next week we will be at Fenway Park again for the Yankees and the Red Sox. Right now we're trying to resolve Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. So now Norman, let's check him out. Norman has faced 26 batters. He can face 27. So they're going to let him pitch to Stargell. So he'll stay in the game to pitch to Stargell, at least. Bottom of the 8th, tied at 2. 15 for Stargell when he strikes out. 1 away. 1 down. So now Norman would go to his D grades if he gives up a hit here because he's past his batter's face total. But he's got another lefty-lefty matchup with Moreno. 21, and that's a strikeout of Moreno. So Norman showing some spunk here at the end. They love to get him through the inning so they can pinch hit for him in the 9th. Here's Foley. 11 for Foley. That's a base hit. So now he is on his D grades, but he's got a lefty coming up in Parker. So I think they're going to go and let him pitch to Parker. It'll be his last batter he'll get to pitch to. Reds do have Pedro Bourboin ready in the bullpen, but they'd like to bring him in to pitch the bottom of the 9th, not to pitch 2 outs in the 8th. All right, so here's Parker with Foley aboard, 2 outs. Parker, lefty-lefty matchup. 56, and 56 is going to be a strikeout. Let me check the D grades because I've got to remember about D grades and how they get to those D grades. It's been a while since I used a D grade, so I want to make sure I get the D grade rule right. I know certain things change, so I want to make sure that strikeout stays a strikeout. I think it does, but I want to make sure I'm right on that. There's my D grades. Here we go, D grades. All right, no more strikeouts in the 5th. They are now outs. Okay, so it's not a strikeout, but it's an out. So it won't be a strikeout of Parker, but it will be an out, and the out's a 5. So we got a runner on first out chart with the 5, and it is a ground ball to first. So it's just going to be a ground out to Summers to end the inning. So they don't give up a hit because he's tied on a D grades. He just loses a strikeout. Basically, is what happens there. So we're going to adjust Norman now. He's going to go 8 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs earned, but he did strike out 4. Walking only 1. So we go to the 9th. We are tied at 2 apiece. Romo is going to come back out. We will need a pinch hitter for Fred Norman, as it's going to be Geronimo Carell and a pinch hitter. So for the Reds, looks like Dan Dreesen is going to be that pinch hitter. Norman is now gone. And Bourboin would. Well, if they take the lead, they'll bring in Bear. If they don't take the lead, they'll bring in Bourboin. That's kind of how they'll work it. Depends on if they take the lead or not. It all boils down to that. But right now, it is Geronimo facing Enrique Romo. 21 for Geronimo struck him out. 1 away. Brings up the catcher, Correll. And then Dreesen will be next. Dreesen is on deck. 53, we got a range check. We'll see who the range check is on. 64. The range check is on the shortstop, Foley. That's a 1. So obviously he'll make the play. And there's 2 away. 2 down now, and a pinch hitter coming up for the Reds, and it's going to be Dan Dreesen. He will hit for Fred Norman, and most likely Pedro Bourbon will pitch the 9th. So Dan Dreesen, let's bring him on in the computer. Need to do that so we get everything straight. So we had a strikeout of Geronimo and a ground ball to short by Correll. And now coming in is Dan Dreesen to pinch hit for Norman. So Dan Dreesen is up. 53, another range check. And it's going to be on 63, which is 63 is, again, Foley. Another range check on Foley. That's a 12. That's iffy. Foley at short. Range is only 11, so it's going to get through for a base hit. Dan Dreesen, a pinch hit single. Pinch hit single for Dan Dreesen. 2-out single for Dreesen. And let's see, that'll bring up Ken Griffey. Romo to Griffey. 56, and that's going to be a strikeout by Romo to end the inning. So the Pirates will have a chance to walk it off in the 9th. And they will send in Pedro Bourbon to pitch for the Reds. Bourbon, and that's going to be all for Romo. He's done. And it's going to be Robinson, Nicosia, and a pinch hitter for Romo in the bottom of the 9th. Again, we'll look at the Pirate bench and see who they got to pinch hit. Left-handed wise, you got Ed Ott. You got Mike Easler. He seems to be the guy. Him or Milner. I got my choice. Milner or Easler, 2 good left-handed pinch hitters. I'm leaning more towards Easler because Milner has flexibility to play first and left. So I'm kind of leaning toward Easler here. Robinson, Nicosia, and Easler due up in the 9th. All right, bottom of the 9th we go, and we bring in we bring in Pedro Bourbon. Bourbon is your left-hander. Reds have all righties in the bullpen except for Dave Tomlin. He's the only lefty. So it is a bullpen session for Bourbon. And just like all the other pitchers in this game, he's a C pitcher. Every bullpen session has been a C. Don't know why, but it has. So here we go, bottom of the 9th. 14, and that's an out. 18 is going to be a fly to center. Geronimo is there, 1 away. Brings up Nicosia. Do they pinch hit with, they're going to pinch hit, I think, here. They're going to bring in Ed Ott, the other catcher who usually plays against right-handers. So Ed Ott's going to pinch hit for Nicosia. And, of course, stay in the game to catch. So Ed Ott. And he'd catch in the 10th inning if it goes to 10 innings. So Mr. Ott coming on to catch, or pinch hit and then catch. Bourbon to Ott. 54. See what's going on that play. 54 chart, base is empty. And we're looking at the wild chart. That's a 15. Single, refer to the D20 to see who fields it. 15 is the right fielder, and we're going to roll against the error rating of the right fielder. So the right fielder is Griffey, and his error rating for Griffey is only a 4. So we're going to roll and make sure we don't get a 4 or less. And we do. It's an error on Griffey. Wow. So Griffey makes the error. Let's see here. Now roll for E rating. So it's a single plus an error. So the original result was a single. And this is an error for an extra base. So it's going to be a single plus an error. So Ed Ott singles and gets to single plus the error on Griffey. That's going to put him at second base. So Ed Ott's at second base. He is the winning run here in the bottom of the 9th. And now we get the pinch hitter. But the problem now is you can intentionally walk the pinch hitter. No matter who you bring in, they're going to be intentionally walked. So they're going to intentionally walk Easler. Set up a force play. And Rennie Stennett is your batter. But they will have John Milner hit for Stennett. They're not going to let Stennett hit. They're going to have John Milner come in and hit for Stennett. So let's see here. Let's see here. Fly out to center. Put that in there like I wanted. All right, so Easler obviously announced that the pinch hitter, but then he will be intentionally walked, and then we're going to bring in John Milner to hit for Stennett. So first and second, 1 out. And they do have either Lacey or Berra can play second base if it goes to that. So Milner is up to hit for Stennett. See what Milner does. All right, so Easler, let's write him in. He was intentionally walked. Pitch hitter in the 9th, he was intentionally walked. And now Milner. First and second, 1 out for Bourbon. 22 from Milner is a walk, and that's going to load the bases. So now the bases are loaded with 1 out for Phil Garner. Bases loaded, 1 out, Phil Garner. Dave Tomlin's loosening in the Cincinnati bullpen, and he may be called on to face Stargell because the bases will be loaded. To get Garner, it'd be bases loaded, 2 outs with the lefty Stargell on deck. So Bourbon trying to pitch out of this. Here's Garner. Infield is, wow, do you play the infield in or do you play for the double play? I think they're going to play for the double play here. I think they're going to play for the double play. 16, and that's an out for Garner, but the bases are loaded. What kind of out is it? Bases loaded out, 16. Ground out to short, fielder's choice, but a strong arm at short starts a double play. So we're looking at Concepcion. He's got to have a strong arm, but they rate him as an average arm, not a strong arm. So it's going to be a fielder's choice, and the ball game is over. Pirates win it on a walk-off because they were playing for the double play, and they couldn't quite turn it on Garner. Fielder's choice is all they got at second base, and the winning run will score. Pirates win it over the Reds by the score of 3-2, as all they get is the out at second base. And that's all they get. So ball game is over. We will go to the box score. I mean, I could have played in. Ball could have been hit through the drawn in infield, and you'd be saying, why didn't you play back? So, I mean, it's really, tit for tat how we do it. So 3 runs, 6 hits, and an error for Pittsburgh. 2 runs, 8 hits, and no errors for the Reds. I'm sorry, 1 error for the Reds. It was an error on the Reds. Griffey made an error, and that's what got them the winning run. He made an error on that single to put the runner in scoring position, and that changed the whole strategy of the game right then and there. Reds win it, or sorry, Pirates win it 3-2, 3-6-1 for the Pirates, 2-8-1 for the Reds. Winning pitcher is Enrique Romo of the Pirates, and the loser is Pedro Borbon of the Reds. There's probably some Reds fans were probably groaning when I brought Pedro Borbon into the game to begin with, but you don't want to use your closer Bear when the score is tied. You want to bring him in when you got the lead. And since they didn't take the lead, I didn't bring him in. Simple as that. So that's it from here. Pirates win it by the score of 3-2 with walk-off drama in the bottom of the ninth. Next Sunday, or next Saturday, not next Sunday. Next Saturday, we'll be at Yankee Stadium. I'm sorry, be at Fenway Park for the Yankees and the Reds. Yankees and Red Sox, rather. And the week after that, we'll be back to the National League for the Dodgers and the Reds. And like I said, by using the NBC schedule, you can see a lot of Yankee, Red Sox, Reds, and Dodgers showing up all over the place, rather than having a lot of the variety of teams. But I'm following the exact schedule, and that's what we got. So let's go do it from here. Probably in another hour or so, I'll upload round 3 of the Farmers Insurance Open from Torrey Pines. That's about a half-hour video, so I'll upload that and get us ready for tomorrow's final round. And then, of course, tomorrow will also be Sunday Basic Sunday in Strat-O-Matic 1962, the Yankees and the Orioles from Yankee Stadium. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great weekend, whatever you have planned. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.